Sanibonani Josi, ninjani? Siyaphila, igama lami Bonagani Luvalo. I'm from a very big township. It's not such a dusty place. I know everyone, magazi introducer says, I come from a dusty street of Orange Farm. There's no dust, believe you me. Actually, we are the first township in the entire country to have a toilet ending. No, serious. Google Kwatema. In the city planning and engineering, you will know how best to understand or find that information. Kwatema in Springs is the first township to actually have toilets ending. The rest of Amalogishi, they had toilets ngaphandle. So we were the first version of white people having to do number 2 in the house during apartheid. So that's why I'm saying I'm not from a dusty street. I'm not going to lie to you and say, no, these profound messages. I'm from a dusty street of Orange Farm. But I've been to Orange Farm before. There used to be a Love Life Center. I'm not sure if it's still here. Those who should be around my age, I think around late 90s, early 2000, you should be going to a Love Life Center when Zola was still on Yizo, Bebeza Lapana Nabo Ishmael. So Orange Farm has always been a place of inspiration for young people. So Dilemma says, I'm not surprised that today, in 2021, and other years that you've been doing this, you'd still want to inspire young people. And I think throughout the week, you've been seeing homecoming people, people who grew up here, who are making, impact in different sectors. Because of Orange Farm has always tried to harness, to encourage young people to be better versions of themselves. So yesterday I saw Sister Mbuza, one of the biggest people in this country, who call shots in boardrooms, who have built their own brands and claimed their own space. I saw the one who sings Lion of Judah. What's her name? Who? Judith, is she from here as well? You see? So I'm saying you've got many people who are making an impact in different sectors. That's what Orange Farm is all about. So next time you introduce yourself, you must not lie to people and say you are from the dusty streets of Orange. We know, don't tell people that. But never say you are from the dusty streets of Orange Farm. Tell them you are from a big township between Johannesburg and Nkadimeng called Orange Farm, right? Okay, I'm not here to make speeches. It has been flipped. One lady close to Michelle Obama said, I must change responsibilities. So I've changed responsibilities, new script. I'm hoping I'll acclimatize. I'm told we're talking about personal brand. How many of us are on social media? Twitter? Facebook? Instagram? But they crashed like 2 or 3 of these things, they crashed the other day. Some of you were frustrated, ne? Me too, I thought I thought iPhone is no longer such a great phone to have because it can connect to social media. But without wasting time, let me invite people who are bigger than me, people who are going to make sense about these things in Kulumangazo. Not only social media, but brand, because it's such a huge and vast subject. But when people talk about brands, I want to be a brand, they think of pictures of Instagram. I saw someone yesterday cutting tomatoes and saying, "Uzfaka orange juice, oros, when the oros wafaka lapha eglazini, then wafaka ku Instagram lapha what I'm drinking orange juice with strawberry garnish." And I'm like, yo, nothing. But that's not only brand management. We're not talking about social media. We're talking about brand management, personal brands. So the people I'm going to invite here are going to unpack this for us because of. Brands are built from a very young age because of it's about being remembered, being known, how you want people to see you. But let me not give away all the answers. Maybe that Jerry is going to ask you questions. So the first one, let's invite a stalwart, a pioneer, a speaker, an actor, renowned international actor who has rubbed shoulders with biggest actors and actresses around the world. And we still see him on our screens. We still listen to him on our radios. Let's give it up for Tate Mofokeng. Round of applause for Ntate Jerry Mofokeng. I nearly said Ntate Jerry Make, I forgot that he passed on. Sorry.
Please
Ntate
ask him
Jerry Mofokeng. And let's also welcome a very beautiful, intelligent, a she leader. They call her Thami Nkadimeng from Nkadimeng Group. Let's give her a warm round of applause. Look at the walk, look at the walk, look at the walk, look at the walk, look at the walk. Isn't that Joshua Maponga here? Maponga. Not yet here. Okay. Is this my final panel? Okay. We're going to kickstart it with these two amazing, intelligent. Can I sit down?
Yes.
Do you allow me to sit down? Closer or far? Oh, let me be closer to power. Let me not waste more time. I think I've taken a long speech when I started here. I would like you guys, Jerry and my sister Thami, to introduce yourself. There are those who know you, but might not know some of the things you want them to know. So it's your responsibility to let them know. So let's start with you, Jerry.
Excuse it. Continue. What can I do? Okay. Jerry Mofokeng Wamaketa and Hasi Fashion Wamaketa, because at the age of 58 I found out who my father is or was. Because many of us here are secrets. How many people here were raised by single parents?
Wow.
And yet the fathers are alive. So, as a fashion, Jerry Mofokeng Wamaketa, born 17 April 1956, Kimosoto, I'm a Christian, I'm an actor, I'm a father. My mission in life is to help people to heal themselves in doing life. That's it.
Tell me.
What's the word?
Amen.
So my name is Thami Nkadimeng. I'm married to the Nkadimeng clan. It's not the surname I was born with. I'm a mom of two amazing boys, one 13, one almost 3 years old. I thought I was done and God was like, ooh, shame. Binoni next to Boxbeck. I grew up just down the road, go Palm Springs, Scotty K, soaking on Akasi. And I'm one of those people that was raised by my mom under the stereotype to say, you need to be a doctor, you need to be a teacher, because that's what most people were to be, right? So I studied my accounting degree and I was very unhappy with it because I didn't feel it was my purpose, but I'll speak a little bit more on that when it comes to branding and how to find your purpose. I'm South Africa, so I don't know I'm from that family, confused. Puzzle PC if it guy. But in Kulele Nasasoweto, a Protea North, so Skulma won't enjoy. I'm so happy to meet all of you. I'm known as the message architect. The reason why is because I build messages in what I do, either emceeing, hosting, writing, communicating. I have worked with a vast number of people and brands, the likes of corporates, your Standard Bank, Vodacoms, MTNs, you name it. And my biggest highlight is I was invited to share the stage with Mama Oprah Winfrey earlier this year.
Thank you very much. I told you guys, you are in front of greatness, and this township does produce greatness. And we are here to talk about personal mastery and personal brand development. Dada Jerry, as far as personal mastery, And I think you would be able to share a lot because there are a number of things that you have mastered over these years. Thami as well. Maybe let's just start with you unpacking your own understanding of what a personal brand is and what personal mastery. Mastering yourself. Ukuzazi. I think in isiZulu one can say ukuzazi ukuthi uyini, ubani, uvela kuphi, uya kuphi. But let me allow you to just unpack the topic itself from your own understanding.
Our my best stage.
Guess what?
Yeah.
You know, I'm 36 years old. I'm not afraid to say my age. I don't care because I'm 20-something. So, brand and personal mastery is something that I never understood until it happened to me. You don't happen to it. Ne? So I'm going to give you a little bit of a story of how I found who I was, and we'll take it from there. I feel like when I'm sitting like you
can stand up.
So I had a baby in 2019, and I've always worked for corporate. I've worked for really amazing businesses. I even worked for Travel with Flair, where I reported directly to Ubasitani Kumalo and Johanna Mukoki. So I've held some really high positions, but I never felt fulfilled. Right? I never felt fulfilled. And the reason being that I hadn't found what my purpose was. And for me, the purpose is really the intersection where talent and passion meet together. Let me explain it to you. I have a talent to plan whatever event you can possibly think about. Conferences, manyalo, concerts, whatever you name it. But I don't have a love for it. Do you understand? I can do it, but I don't have a love for it. That's the talent side. The passion side comes when you really love something, but you can't do it. I'm sure a lot of you watch Idols, wooden mic. Go stage. Your purpose will never be where you have passion, but no talent for it. It's where everything needs to meet together. And I was watching one of my mentors one day, Mama Mersha Shatrai. She actually makes all my evening dresses. So when you see me on TV stages and I'm wearing beautiful dresses, give Mama Mersha. And she said to me, baby, look, I've been called to come to this interview. Please watch it. And she started talking about destiny and what she's made for. And I just remember after 5 minutes switching off the TV and feeling like, you know, what is my purpose? And the reason why I speak on purpose is once you find the purpose, you're able to brand what that thing is. And it hit me like a ton of bricks. Because I'm a Christian and I don't expect everybody in the room to be a Christian, but I'm not going to shy away from speaking to my force, which is God. I had taken the wheels of life out of frustration and I was driving a car that I shouldn't have been driving. God should have been leading that. And the minute I allowed him to take that wheel and to direct me, I started remembering, and I used to walk around, ladies and gentlemen. So my subconscious has always known what I was meant to be, but the frustrations of life took over because but that was never my purpose. And so when I started accepting that I can step back a little bit and do that, I was able to brand myself. It was a tough journey. You get in and there's girls there who have been doing it for over 10 years. Ne? Ke gopola ke kena ke le arrogant ke ra nna nka se thathe makeup ka para dilo tse smart ke tloba authentic shame ha ibereke bjao. But the one thing I had to learn was I cannot compare myself to other people. I need to be in my own, I don't like this your own lane situation because you can never be in your own lane. You need people in your lane to help you. But once I figured out what I actually needed to do with my life, it became really easy to start branding it because it comes very naturally. So people ask me, "O etsa eng ke brand ya hao?" Brand ya ka is simple. Ke rata ho bua, ke rata stage.
Jwanong ke tla reng ha ke bua after this. O tseang. All right. Nna ke rata ho simplify ntwe so that le ska tloa hi ke buile di bombastic ba le botse hore O na ntse a re, ha ke tsebe hore na reng, mare ntate sekgowa sa hae, o na se ntsha ka dinko. So I don't want to do that. Ha ke qale so. Ke kopa hore ha ke phahamisa letsoho so, kaofela ha lona le re so what?
Yeah.
Le nkutlwisitse?
So what?
Okay. Ha re started out. My message is simple. My message is simple. Start where you are, with who you are, with what you have. Three things. If I'm not saying I'm saying the best message, but if and you get out of here and do something because of what was put together and all the speakers, the technicians, everybody. If you get out of here and go and start, it was worth it.
Yeah.
Do you hear what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Start. Again, pray, fast, negotiate, start. But the problem with starting is we've got too many excuses. Let me start with my own example so that we see. Wabana, how to libito Jerry Mofokeng wa Makgetho? What comes to your mind? Eh? Awe ema ubuwe ke na Makgetho. Ke nyo itsebang ka na Makgetho? Total. Okay. What else? How to fela libito ne Jerry Mofokeng wa Makgetho? What comes to your mind?
The line.
The line. Kalisano fe. Ntho e sele ya motho. Jwale, ere ke qale tjena. Nanka ska starta, nanka ska sebetsa, nanka ska ba next because ke holetse ko Lesotho, ko Hololo, ene daso ne ke bolawa ke tlala, ene ke batle ke shwa ke mala. So, ha isale ke le pari ya ko shlakaleng ko Lesotho.
So what?
So what? Not at the age of 14, 1970, 51 years ago, ban shapaka botlolo ka mo litlhong. So I've been seeing with one eye for 51 years.
So what?
Nna ke hotse ke tseba hore he ke nna Jerry Mofokeng birth certificate what ka 2015 at the age of 58, 59 e le hona ke tsebang hore Entlek V's app.
So what?
So what? Ke holetse Orange Farm. So what? Now I've been a secret, but le thama la ka le nkganne. So I don't know my identity. So what?
All right.
So what? Today, halimpana mo sajeni kokobela, Sesotho sena ke a se hlafuna ke a se tshwela. Hobaneng ke holetse Lesotho. Tlosa hore ke ne ke lapa ke batlile ke shwa ke ha ba batla actor e tsebang ho hlafuna Sesotho batla ho nna. Right? So it has become my signature, my brand. That time out tsebang ho bua Sesotho se iphotlileng. Ke holetse ko Spoto. Le oledi laka after le thama le hlokahala, she was only 44. And ka hobane died 8 ka nako tsa apartheid ha o khone ho fumana ntlo ya hao and all that khutes o na sa khone ho re supporta so ababula sport matime ana da ko sportong a qamtha witha etsang ke bona ba nthutileng tsotsital. Today ke khona ho etsa neo Mokgethi. I don't need a translator, I do it myself. Because 1970 ka April, I lost one eye, and so haba batla a particular actor more South Africa, but for America, England, but we want that actor with the funny face. Ke holetse ko Spoto. Ke holetse ko Spoto. Le oledi laka after le thama le hlokahala, she was only 44. And ka hobane died 8 ka nako tsa apartheid ha o khone ho fumana ntlo ya hao and all that khutes o na sa khone ho re supporta so ababula sport matime ana do that ko sportong a qamtha witha etsang ke bona ba nthutileng tsotsital. Today ke khona ho etsa neo Mokgethi. I don't need a translator, I do it myself. So these things, kibilet's honor without asking for them. I am saying your scars are your stripes. Your scars are your... Somebody comes to me 2015. Excuse me, brother, what happened to your eye? No, so. Can I pray for you? Cry. No. You can't pray for me because if you pray for me and you change my eye, I will no longer be the same person. So, ke bua so say potleng equity as a vel ke dai o e batlang e mazamisa di camera and all that goodies. That's it. So, I am able to do what I want to do. Ke ngotse buka. Ha ka tlo samari ke please. After I found out Hurnakin Namang, I finally wrote a book.
Come on.
It took me 6 years to finally this book. Okaska ngola buka without the stripes.
Yeah.
Lankutlo. You can write your kind of book because of the journey that you have traveled.
Come on.
Now, start where you are.
Yeah.
Skamela ho ya ko Vanderbilt Park, yisu. With who you are. How can we introduce it for 30 seconds? Who would you say you are? Just what matters to you. And then with what you have. Don't tell me what you don't have. Tell me what you have. You have life, you have health, you have talent, you have relatives, you've got love, you've got all these things. Start!
Thank you. We have been joined in our midst by Ndadwe Joshua Maponga, Bishop Joshua Maponga. Please greet. I will not say where you guys know the bishop from. I don't like controversy. You know, Tate Jerry only spoke about prayer just after Tate Joshua arrived here. He says, no, I met someone who wanted to pray for me. And I was thinking, is that you, Ndad? Who wanted to do such a noble cause, pray for the old man, say, no, we can change. I'm like, hey, Tate Jerry likes controversy, you know. Only when the bishop arrives, he's now talking about church and prayers. Let's give Tate Joshua a round of applause. Tate Joshua, you are arriving just at a time we're trying to break down what we mean when we talk about, you know, personal brand, personal mastery, you know. And I tried to use isiZulu, but Ndade Jerry and Thami, they bathala kwisilungu. I'm hoping that you would be able to bring it home as well, ngesintu, but also nange English, because we are students here, and I remember English is still the medium of instructions, but inokshaya better ngesizulu as well, you know. Kuyazwakala. So if your own understanding of when we talk about, you know, personal brand, you are a personal brand, you are a brand walking in here. That's why when Ndade Jerry spoke about prayer, I thought of you. So if maybe you can just break it down for us, then we can just move with the conversation from there.
Sanbonani. Ukuqala i-brand kusho ukuthi vele umuntu mayezalwa uzalwa anikezwe igama, anikezwe ibongo, abe na lento kufanele into iqanjwe ukuze iphile into leyo, kufanele iqanjwe ukuze iphile lento. And I want to share with you a crash course in personal branding, which I call the 6 positions of a good brand. So in your mind, if you have a piece of paper, I want you to put a line from the top to the bottom, just maybe halfway through the page. And I want you to put another line across to make a cross on your page. Then put a big circle around the thing you're drawing. At the end of the day, it will be a circle with a cross that is inside. And I want to quickly take you through what I might want to call brand positioning. How to position yourself as a brand. So you can use this model. My thinking tools are quite versatile. You can take this into family. You can take this into personal space. You can take this into products. You can take this into a strategy. It's fluid because it's wisdom literature. So it's not necessarily pinpointed only at solving one issue. We are looking at a variety of issues, and you could be at various stages in your life. So when I speak once, you must hear me 3 to 4 times as you apply it in your life. So firstly, there's what we call leading from the front. Say it after me. Leading from? Leading from the front speaks of the vision, the direction. What do you see? We might call that the projection. What do you want to become? Whether it's a brand, or it's you, or it's a relationship, or it's what? To me, life is connected. What is it that is in front of you? Given 5 years, given 10 years, given 20 years, what do you want to become? For example, 20 years from now or 15 years from now, I've made my projection. I must be the president of Zimbabwe, yeah? I'm going back home. So you need a picture in front as to where are you going, so that what you are doing here takes you there. Are you following what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Number 2, then you can brand from the center, or you can lead from the center, or you can work from the center. That's where the critical information is. Le ozoyifuna ukuthi ukuze ukwazi ukwenza lento oyifuna ngaphambili. Yini oyifunayo ngaphakathi kuwena ezokudrive ukuthi uye lapho ufuna ukuya khona. Does that make sense? Because it will end up kube izifiso zakagogo Fakutse, where you are just wishing and wishing. It's in the pipeline, and the pipe never spits on the other side. You may want to cut the pipe. What are the doing things? I'm going to succeed in life. The question is, how are you going to succeed? This brand will make it. The question is, how will the brand make it? So you need to come to the center and find, right at the center, find the critical information that you need that can actually drive the brand, drive you, drive your family, drive your career to where you want it to be. Position number 3 is from the back. These are the drawbacks. What are the things that are in the backyard? If it is in organizations, these are the trade unions. These are the people who tell you it has been tried, it has failed. You can't do this. Don't waste our time. So you have that resistance that is at the back. So you want to come to the back and see what could be the disadvantages of my brand. What are the competitors who could almost be a challenge? What are the misfortunes that could fall on this brand? You are an athlete, for example, and you run very fast like Bolt. What are the disadvantages? You may just break your leg in an accident. And that whole career of running dissipates into something else different. Did you think, Mr. Bolt, that you could also be a trainer with one leg? Did you also think, Mr. Bolt, that you could write books about your success story so that in the event that your leg is broken, you can actually still have your brand without necessarily the essence of what brought your brand there? I wonder if that makes sense. If you become single-headed or single idea-oriented as a pastor, you'll end up stealing money from members. Because if bangaletanga issume i-COVID ivalisa amabandla, kubanele umfundisi ngaphambili bese ecabanga ukuthi le brand, in case amalunga ebandla kwabuyi, how else can I make money? Can I sell my literature? Can I run workshops? Can I also do other things? Therefore, the brand must not necessarily be locked up to one ideology. It might not succeed. So lead from the front, lead from the center, lead from the back, lead from the bottom. Understand the historical background of what you're dealing with. What is the substance of this idea that you are talking about? Historically speaking, where do you place yourself? If I was supposed to speak in English, I would be saying, establish the system level, the environmental place where you find yourself. Umndiya ukwazi ukuthengisa iziphandla lapha eNatal ebona amazulu onke afaka iphandla yena wayekhaya wafika wabulala imbuzi wasika iphandla wasigcwalisa ngaseverandini abantu badlula one by one wambheka nje wathi lo uyahlanya ke lo akathengisanga nasiphandla sibe sinye because in his mind did not understand the environment yokugqoka iphandla ukuthi asithengiswe shop kufanele kuthelwe ngenyongo kufanele siye ekhaya kufanele inyama yakho nidliwe before isiphandla sifakwe esandleni. Are you with me? So you may have a good business idea, but if you don't understand the environment in which the business is taking place, you might actually misplace it. So go back to the history. Go back to the side. Objectivity and subjectivity. That is the other angle. From the front to the center to the back to the bottom. Go to the side. That's the objective and the subjective corner. Can you look at yourself? Can you look at your brand and critique it without losing it? Be honest. This is where I enjoy my life as a counselor. Nango husband, nango wife. Bakabenege. Loading right. So we are giving about umfundisi. Sikabene nalo muntu. Ngithi khulumane ke umfazi athi indoda ngibalalele bobabili, and because I'm not involved in their relationship, I am able to see. Hey, kwangazathi ziyabuya la. I think, and I'm able to speak to both of them only on the advantage that I'm outside of them. And if you become too attached to your brand, sometimes you can even destroy it yourself. Because instead of solving the problem, you are the problem. And by solving the problem, you might have to solve yourself.
Yeah.
So iba inkinga ke le, iba inkinga leyo ke. Mind to yenzile ilaphayana, allow other people to look at it and say, how about this? How about that? You could do it better like this, like this. Some people take it personally, very personal. You cannot challenge what I think is best. So look from the side so that you can have an objective look at what you're discussing. Avoid being subjective with a brand. You could be the weakest link in the development of your own brand. And finally, leading from the top, that is the overview, where you're able to rebrand, plan, do, and adjust. We're able to look at the entire space. What does the front look like? Kunjani ngaphakathi nendawo. Sibuya phi njenge-organization. Imbali yethu ithini. How are the critics doing it on the side? Ultimately, when I'm looking at this brand from a bird's view, what is it that we are all about? Let me share something in closing. McDonald's, their brand is not about selling food. Did you know that? Their brand is about property. Owning property in every city in the world. That is their business plan. But the model that they are using is of selling burgers and selling some nuggets. So if you get there and you engage McDonald's on the nugget side, you have not come face to face with the brand itself, because McDonald's does not rent any property, they buy properties.
Good.
Does that make sense? Example number 2, Mercedes-Benz. Their business is not making cars. In case you did not know, their business is finance. That is the backbone of their business. So they use cars as vehicles. So if you are designing a brand, don't make the brand the in and the ultimate of everything that you are doing. You need to put the brand because it becomes the frontline desk where people are meeting you. But you need a big idea at the back. So don't do a brand. If your brand is just a brand, then it's worth nothing. Do you want to make money? Then the idea behind must allow this to become a commodity that interacts with people. But at the back of this idea, there must be that which drives the brand, which some of you have gone to school to study. This is what might call the brand essence itself. This is the backbone of the brand. Look at it from the front, look at it from the center, look at it from the back, look at it from the bottom, look at it from the side, and look at it from the top side. This is how I want you to think. This is how I want you to feel. This is how I want you to do.
Thank you very much, Bishop, Wama Bishop. I think 3 things stand out in this introduction, I think, from the 3 speakers. One is about passion, what you love. She likes talking, and that's how she has built herself. overlooking your circumstances, so what? Irrespective of where you come from, what is it that you're passionate about? And being able to self-introspect. That's what you are saying, Bishop, looking at yourself from different dimensions, But where we are, we've got 2 senior citizens on this stage, and we've got 2 young adults. I think people were making noise when we were having groups for vaccination. There are those who are 34 to 49. They call themselves the national group. So the 4 of us here are from 2, if not 3 different generations.
Yeah.
And that's why when I spoke earlier on, I said there are those who, when you think about brand, they would think about social media.
Yeah.
So from where you are, Thami, and where Nade Jerry is and where Nade Maponga is, you are 2 different generations who would look and approach things in different ways.
Yeah.
In your own view and understanding, what then becomes the demise of holding your brand and understanding your brand at a 21st century? Because of that, Jerry at 14 knew and understood what should happen, and he built his, acting career under different circumstances. You started speaking at a different time, and some of the things that the 21st century presents as disadvantages or advantages impact us in different. So where we are sitting, how does the 21st century, impact how we want to build ourselves?
Well, firstly, I want to acknowledge all the ladies in the room. Give yourselves a round of applause, right? And I want the boys to please give a round of applause for the ladies. And I'll tell you why, right? The 21st century impacts me in the most impeccable way. I'm fighting 3 battles at any given day. I'm fighting an age battle because the older people think I'm too young to deserve what I've got. I'm fighting a race battle because there's always a race battle in our country, whether we like it or not. And the worst battle I fight is the gender battle. And it's quite evident even in the number of females that are up here on stage. And believe me, you will always run into those challenges. So whether you like it or not, as a black young female, you're forever fighting. And so your brand has to go against the norms of what everybody expects you to do. Okay? I have come to places where I've met people and they'd come up to me, I've met them on the phone. Oh, you're Thami. Yes. Oh, you speak really great English. For what? For a black girl. And I've made it my prerogative to speak the best English, even when I'm on global stages. So what I've had to learn is also be true to myself and see the very essence of my brand. I'm in the business of communication. The prefix of communication itself is com. Com means to share energy with people. And I know that I'm gifted in my brand mastery to be able to share energy with pretty much any human being, to be interested in their journey enough to convert them to be interested in my journey. And so when I focus on that and not necessarily the facade of what the world wants you to focus on, the expensive clothes, the brands, the car. Don't get me wrong, I like nice things, right? But do not allow society to pressure you to be what they want you to be as a young black South African. Do you.
Jerry, then the Bishop.
I want to caution on brands. I want to caution on brands. If you take a pig and you put it in a Lamborghini and you drive to Sandton, when you come back, you'll have a pig.
In a Lamborghini.
In the Lamborghini. Because a pig does not become a human being because it's in a Lamborghini.
That's it.
If you are cheap, you are cheap. Don't buy brands. Own the brand. Own the brand. And follow carefully. Many people who buy brands, they buy the value which they don't have.
That's it.
So ngizohamba mina ngiyogqoka ufubu, mbe ngiyogqoka uVersace, mbe ngiyogqoka uAmani or ngigqoke YS whatever. And because you think that you know there's a perception in the market that this is worth 45,000. So when I put it on, I want people to put value on it that is worth 45,000. When the person inside the 45,000 is not worth 2 rand. So when I reached that level, for you young people, when I reached that level, I stopped wasting my money on buying clothes. I make my own clothes. I dress what I want. I make my own shoes. I dress what I want. I go to Sandton. I take pictures of the expensive shoes that I like. I have a boy from Nigeria in St. Kempton Park. Then I say, make this shoe for me. Elephant. I still have the value. I still have the value that I want. The difference is I even have the skin that I want and the design that I want, and I can always tamper around it. So at the end of the day, I am not spending on brands. I have designed and I own my own brand. And to say what you're saying is very true. Many of us will fail because we compare our brands with those that are seemed to be successful. And then you undermine yourself. Oh, hell no. COVID has taught us that Mhlonyana is as good as Vicks.
It's a problem to speak last. I think we're talking wisdom here. And wisdom is about how to do life. You can be clever. You're born with intelligence. That's why you can't boast about it because you inherited it. But wisdom is about applied knowledge, applied intelligence. Here's what I'm saying. Stars expire. Artists are forever.
That's it.
Okay? It's easy to come to me and say, hey, Tata Jerry, I want to be like you. Really? Really? Okay, how about you start where you are? Go Holong, Liko Kerekeng, and everywhere. How about going to university for 9 years? How about keeping certain principles about your art? Let me give you a few examples. You never go on stage without warming up your voice. You always do your homework. Before you get to the rehearsal room, you must have done your homework. When you start getting famous, you must keep your feet on the ground and don't become a prima donna. And you must become an artist, whether you've got 1 million followers or not. Stay with the basics. And so, if you're a star, you get into a soapy and you think you arrived. After they write you out of the soapy, you're finished. You're finished. Why? Because you don't have what it takes. You are just beauty and six-pack, but there's nothing inside that.
Yeah.
That's why when you hear Ntate talking about that overview, it's what my teacher says, every artist must reinvent themselves every 5 years. Otherwise, you can have a degree, your degree will expire because it's not fresh. So that's one thing that's the one thing I want to say. The second thing I want to say is this. Stay original.
Yeah.
Stay original. You want to be like me? Let me inspire you. You see, here's the thing about mentors. Mentors can tell you how they did it, but they cannot tell you how you should do it. You must find out how you should do it. You must do you. This world is okay with one Jerry Mofokeng wa Makgetha wa Mosotho wa Kreste wa one eye. One. We don't need 1.5. So there must be no Hong Kong Jerry Mofokengs here in Orange Farm. And so that's why one of the things I hope that you pick up from these 3 people here with your nudging is this: do your homework on you.
Yeah.
And do you. Find everything that is necessary to do you and become the best of you. She will give you some of the tricks on how to package that you. But please, no Hong Kongs and no stars.
Can I just touch on something?
Sure.
Got my
Yeah.
blood going. You know, it's so strange, right, as our generation, that a lot of times what society tells us we need to be is a famous brand. So a lot of us want to be on stage talking, acting, blah, 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 blah. Ne? There's so much more you can be in the world and not just that. He was speaking about a book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, the McDonald's and the Mercedes-Benz. The one book I'll really encourage some of you to read, for those that like to read. I'm not big on reading, but I do audiobooks. I download them and then I listen to them in the car. I'm not really good with hard copy books, and I've come to understand that.
What's going to happen to my book now?
What you need to do is you need to book me for the book review, because then I have to read it in order to
You
review
see
it.
what I'm saying?
You see, because then it's work, right?
Transaction done.
So the one book I really encourage all of you to read that I read quite a few years ago is by a guy called Robin Sharma, right? So it's ROBINSHARMA. And it's called A Leader Without a Title. What he talks about, and I'm not going to mess it up for you guys, is he talks about it doesn't matter what role you are in, be the best at it. If you're going to be a street sweeper, be the best flippin' street sweeper there's ever known to earth. Do not get caught up in this trap of Thami, babuya hung or staging. There's only so many of us that can be on stage. There's only so many of us that can be in front of the camera. So don't be shy to have personal mastery in what you want at the back. And let me tell you something. Only a handful of us will actually even make it in that space. And this is where he triggered me. When you see us on stage, what you get to see is the pretty clothes that have been chosen for us, the makeup that's been chosen for us, the hair that's been chosen for us. What you don't understand sometimes is the hard labor and work that goes into it. I just come from Cape Town as a brand ambassador for Fame Africa, Fame Week Africa. So I represent Kenya, Nigeria, Rwanda, Tanzania, and South Africa within film, arts, media, and entertainment. What people see is me on stage speaking the best English ever and enunciating my words the way that I'm told to enunciate my words. But what they don't get is I slept at 2:00 every morning learning those scripts. And that's what I want you to learn is whatever industry you need to do. And there's nothing like a rubbish job. Okaba kadila, bank teller, anything away batlang. Choose to personal master that and put in as much effort, because you will then be known for that and be the flippin' best at what you do. Because when you are, opportunity will find you. Oprah often says, you know what's luck is where opportunity meets hard work.
Yes.
Please do that.
Okay.
Yeah, quick one.
Quick one, yes.
Quick one. I did a small little offering here also entitled, So You Want to Be the Master. I've done about 6 or 7 books so far. But on personal mastery, again, it has to do with you mastering your demons in private. If you cannot kneel in private, you cannot stand in public. Because uskayemela muthu akubulele gore wena mulomo wako wankha. wa kwata wena, but wa tseba gore also tshwara toothbrush last week. Also, your armpits are smelling, and you are angry when you tell you your armpits are smelling. You see, if you are organized enough, you must be saying, hey, in fact, amanzi acimile in fact. Angisatholanga nethuba lokuba ngigeze. Iyanuka lento, ngizahamba ngiyoyilungisa mangifike ekhaya. Don't be angry. Because if you run around with your feelings on the sleeves of your shirts, you might find that opportunities of encouragement, opportunities of critique, both negative and positive. I live with both criticisms. I saw what happened during the Makamu saga. The whole country lacerated me for believing what I believed and saying what I wanted to say because it was me. Against all public demand and public media and social norms. So be true to yourself. I want to say that so that you can sleep with yourself at night. Remember this one thing. If the face is beautiful and the software is not working, hardware will always suffer. When you have capacity and potential of beauty, talent, but your brain is not working, you may find that you have to work harder simply because you put your brains on hold. So combine your beauty and your software and spare your hardware.
Thank you very much, Bishop.
Give me 1 minute. Give me 1 minute.
Ngalejere,
1 minute.
just because of my mother said, "Kiska tella bat baba kholo." Kitlo ufa.
Yeah.
If it was not for my mother, never go ufa.
Yeah.
Kia ufa.
Yeah.
30 seconds. Ngalejere.
And when I share video, you can Bishop. Mamela, for those of you who are believers, let me just quote these Ecclesiastes 9:10 and 10:10. Those are the verses that sent me to Wits University. Big. What have you? One of them says, whatsoever your hand finds to do it with all your might.
That's it.
If you make a cup of tea, make a flipping good cup of tea. Who knows one day you're going to be owning a restaurant? Because you put every effort into that cup of tea. If you're going to clean so that everybody says, oh no, who's going to clean so and so? Okay, let's take care of other things because so and so is cleaning.
That's it.
That's what it's about. But then number 2, if an X is black, more effort is needed. But education or training or whatever gives you success.
Amen.
Gives you success. Now I grew up in that time more as Bazarani. Ufuna ukuya esikolweni, ufuna ukuya university, unedimonile mfundo. But I tell you what, when I get into the rehearsal room, when I get into a place like this, I don't tell you what skills, what principles I'm using, but I just dish them out. Please, get training. Get trained. Don't be lazy. Get training. There are things on the internet. There are books. There are people who can mentor you. Get training so that you know what it takes to deliver quality. That's it.
You're awesome.
One of the bad things, I think this could be the only bad thing about being a facilitator. When you find people with wisdom, you start doing introspection. And now you are now trapped in your own thoughts. And you're like, hey, I'm thinking, let me leave. Kilo itukisa, you know? Because, you know, and talks about being authentic. I was once invited to come and speak. I'm a very huge fan, or maybe until Thabo decided to be old of age. I'm the biggest fan of the former president, Thabo Mbeki, you know, to a point where I would listen to YouTube, you know. So I think it got so bad that I started trying to sound like him. So I was invited, I wrote my speech, I went there and I spoke, you know. Gave a good 30, 40 minute speech, you know. And when I was done, everyone was like, you remind me of Thabo. You remind me of Thabo. And I was like, why can't people talk about me? And I had to sit and say, but you're over-consuming somebody else that you now become the embodiment
Yeah.
of somebody else.
Yeah.
So when you leave the room, you have reminded people of Ntejeri. You know, and I had to literally stop having to watch Thabo to that extent because I was losing who I am. You know, and when I started talking about what my mind, generates, people then says, this is what you have said. You know, when I saw you here, this is what you said. This is what I remember about you. You know, so I'm doing these introspections because I'm thinking, hey, this thing of, we tend to see our role models and start mimicking them, that we lose ourselves in them. While we're talking about that, do we have the mic ready? Just after I've said this, we will then try and get some few questions, we speak about, no, don't worry about your hands for now. Prepare your hands. I will call for them. Ne? I will call for the hands. I just want us to quickly take a bite on this. You know, social media is part and parcel of this thing of brand, because we live in this 21st century. And irrespective whether you want to be a personality, a public figure, or a careerist, which means you want to be a banker, you want to be a CA, you want to be a lawyer, or you want to be an actor or a musician, or you want to be an entrepreneur. We had a very interesting conversation with a friend yesterday. He was saying to me, you know, some of the bad things about when we advertise our businesses, you use your strategy on social media. I know at some point people were being bashed that whenever you ask for a prize, somebody says, no, go to your inbox. But there are people who come and ask you of your price so that they can be your competitors. You know, so he was telling me about this thing yesterday. He says, you know, at times, Bongs, we try and master this thing of using social media to market our businesses, but people come and steal these things. So what is it that becomes a bad influence of social, irrespective of what sector you are in? And how do we, there are people who have been found wanting with their pens down or zips down, we're thinking that the organ doesn't work. We tend to make these mistakes on social media. But what becomes the consequences of us? I know that in 1976, even if you were sitting in Koshawela having a black label and you, by mistake, insulted by someone or intentionally, it would have not found itself as a voice note, Yabuji and Boiti, being circulated. You know, and these things, they keep on happening. But what is it that we are missing, and why is it so hard for us to learn?
Are you asking me?
The three of you,
Okay.
from two different generations.
Do you want me to go first?
Let's start with Ntate Cherry, because he always speaks last. Let's start with Ntate Cherry, then we'll
I
move.
wanted to go first.
Oh, okay. Ladies first.
Yeah.
Why Singafundi?
You know, first of all, you better all follow me on social media. I do want my following to go up. I don't believe to Instagram, Thami, Nkadimeng. And you do that because, I say that because whether we like it or not, the business and the marketing strategy of organizations is very much going on the route of how many followers that you have. So in as much as you wouldn't want to use social media, you've got to keep up with the times and the Joneses. Because if you're going to sit there and say, oh, well, I don't need social media because social media is a very bad influence, you'll stay very far behind. It's something I had to learn quite quickly. If you go and look at me on Instagram, you'll see I only have like 1,700 followers. And reason being, I kind of caught the bus very late because I was like, who cares what I'm eating? Who cares, you know, whether I'm sleeping or what outfit I'm wearing? So social media is quite imperative in terms of keeping up with the Joneses and the marketing on innovation and technology and where the strategies of marketing are going. Now, I always say social media brings to the front what you truly are, right? You can try and facade it as much as you want, but what's eventually going to happen with social media is it will catch up with you and we'll start to see the trueness of what you really are. And even with the people that are always perfect on social media, you kind of start seeing that they're actually always perfect because they're always fake. So the trueness of who you are will always come to the forefront of what social media is. And so to make social media really work for you is you've got to make a conscious decision of what are you using it for, right? What are you using it for? Are you using it because you want everybody to know, or are you using it because you want people to actually know your services? The one thing I've learned, though, having used social media, is I never do business on social media. It's that simple. If you want me, you'll respect me enough and my brand to engage me on what is deemed as a business platform. Social media is for social activity. So you've got to be very careful about DM, study pricely. Because I'd like to engage you on your services. And then because you're like, oh yeah, I really want to be out there. Next thing, a phone number, and you think it's for business, and they won't even give you business for the next 6 years or never. They just wanted to get your phone number. So be very, very careful. If somebody respects your brand, they will respect the platform at which you engage on business. And for me, it's not even on my cell phone. It's my email until my gut tells me this is a right business deal to go in. We can engage further.
Sure.
Let me say this. The consumers on social media are gullible. I hope that word they would see.
Gullible.
Ntho tse bubble gum tse fake ke tsona tse ba di ratang haholo ke tsona tse tholang di followers tse ngata and rona di bishop ba ruti he re rata ho bua ka integrity and character. Those two words are key. In other words, having followed you for so long, can you back up what I have read when I finally meet you and say, oh, right, this is the person I've been following? Or will I meet a completely different person? We have had a situation in my family where somebody stole my son's picture and put it on their platform so that people could follow. Yeah. My son, those who are following YouTube, son of Jerry, that's him. Onaliko isiting, Ntando, that's my son. And so because the honeys like his looks,
The honeys.
somebody stole it. Lonala tshwenya bo mme man. Yeah, including I ask you some also a marriage, whatever. And because bo mme le tenakang, you marry your hopes and not the man in front of you. You know what I'm talking about. But basically, just about anything and everything, the question is really, what is it about? Is it serving you or are you serving it? What value do you put in those things? Yeah, because most scandal and this, I've got 20,000 on Instagram. At 65, yeah, I've got 20,000 and still growing. But when you meet me, it's got to be a confirmation of what you see on Instagram.
Yeah.
And so I will not give you bubble gum just because I want 1,000 hits in 2 hours. I will not do that.
Yeah.
So the problem with social media is you can make yourself a celebrity through what you post. Mm-hmm. But Lantolamus. Shallow. And me, you write something on my page and you write hi, I delete you immediately. No, honestly.
Yeah. My boss has already spoken to me.
My 2 cents worth also on media.
Just a quick one, Mapong. We'll come back. My boss has spoken to me. I must maintain there's an invoice that is supposed to go. So if I then tamper with the terms and conditions, I might not get paid. So as I manage time, then I will give you. Can we have 5 hands this side? We'll start with sides. Let's start with this side. 3 hands. My boss is giving me further communication. So let's quickly have 3 hands this side.
And can I request, you don't have to ask a question. You can just make a comment.
Sure.
You know?
But importantly, your introduction, since we're talking about brands, I think it's important so that when you walk out of here, people will remember you by what you said. So when you introduce, my name is Bonagani Luvalo and I'm a cool dad. That's my introduction. So anyone who has got to remember me has got to remember that Bonagani Luvalo is a what? Is a cool dad. So let's have the introduction and you shoot straight to the comment or to the question.
Okay, thank you. Good, is it still morning? Okay, thank you for this opportunity that I'm giving. My question is directed to Maponga. I just want to know what advice can you give for local brands that are undervalued and underpaid? Just a quick example, for instance, local brand, your artist, and if somebody wants to start a brand, especially if it's local, I don't want to use the word black, people normally want it to be discounted, or if you give a certain price, people will always say, no, this thing, it's too expensive. And Mr. Maponga spoke about something, that we are too quick to go buy this international brand. You find that it's the same thing, but just because of it's got a Gucci, Louis Vuitton, and people buy it. But if it's a black or a local brand, people would always want it to be discounted or say, no, it's expensive. We go to artists as well. If you book this artist, no, they say, no, this person is too expensive. We can't afford you. But if it's an international brand, they don't mind even paying times 2 or triple the price. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Second one. Second hand here.
Hello, my name is Nonkululeko Khoza. I'm an artist. Ngiyenza theater. So umbuzo wami directed to you, Babujeri. Ukuthi, how do you keep your brand from doing theater and going into television and going into film? How do you still stay authentic to you?
Sure. Last hand this side, there's none. Let's move to this side. Oh,
Jeez.
there's the last one here. And then we move this side. Can I see the hands this side? Okay.
Sanbonani Ekamobulelwa from Z Logistics, and my question is directed to you, Babu Joshua. You were speaking about the stages of looking forward, center, backwards, and above. As a young entrepreneur, how do you do it, Uguti, to look at all those stages, because they can be stressful sometimes, and then you look at the social media, you look at the internet, you can't filter. How do you filter the whole thing, Uguti, uhlale mentally or alert? Thank you.
Sure. Straight to the point. Siqala ngawe silandele.
Sizokhohlwa mfethu.
Baba,
Sizokhohlwa mfethu.
So,
it's a good training for the. Just a quick one, because we're pressed for time. So let's just quickly take, because others you might find that it's one and the same thing. So when you respond, you'll just combine them. Usisi?
Jimela? I'm a trip organizer. So question yaga is Thami. So as a young woman, how do you honestly self-introspect and purpose in life? Thank you.
Sure. The beanies, the gentleman, the red t-shirt. Sure.
Good morning, everyone. I am Katlego. My question goes to Mrs. Thami. What advice would you give to people who are looking for mentors, and how to identify them, and does a mentor have to be a person who specializes in the industry you wanna do? Thank you.
thank you.
Okay, Zazi, Askis, the last instruction came. Because of time, we are still here, all of us. Don't worry, don't be afraid. You can approach once we get off the podium or as we walk out. You can still grab quickly and ask your question to the person you want the information in. I'm not hating you. I love all of you. Like I love Kaizer Chiefs. Don't take it personal. Let's quickly respond, but time is out. In 30 seconds, Bishop, Thami, and Adechir, a minute of each.
A mango tree does not sell mangoes on the market. I'll answer both questions. So open up your mind, you'll hear the answers. A mango tree does not run around the market selling its mangoes. It finds a solid place, establishes its roots, sinks them deep, produce the right crop, and then those who want mangoes will come here. increase your value, we will find you.
Okay, I'll start with the beautiful lady here in front. So introspection is a very tough thing to do. And I really personally struggle with introspection because you tend to lie to yourself as a human being. It's really a natural thing to do. And you only see the great parts of yourself. So I've surrounded myself with a handful of people that I really trust. Hear me, a handful. Not everybody's your friends. I have a lot of acquaintances. I know a lot of people, but there's certain people I ask for feedback on certain things. And then I'll be able to introspect from what they say to me. So pick your circle very well. Very, very well. You asked me about mentoring. There's actually a big debate about the difference between mentoring and coaching. Be very afraid of people who just rush to mentor you, because often a lot of people want you to mentor you just so they can shine through you, because they realize that you can actually outshine them. And just because somebody's been in the industry for longer than you doesn't mean their talent is better than you. So be very, very careful about this word mentoring. I don't necessarily like to be mentored, and I'm not necessarily mentored by anybody. What I like to do is find myself in certain social spaces with people where I can get nuggets from them and not feel the need to be stuck to them and meet them every single time.
The second verse that I mentioned, if an axe is blunt, more effort is needed. But training or education will give you success. As an actor, sorry I can't illustrate because we don't have time. When I get into theater, I put on the theater hat because I know what to pull out of the bag. But when I get onto the set for film, I know exactly what principles to apply there. You can't take theater onto television. That's why some people who come from the Gibson Kenter stable struggle on television, because they can't cross the floor and know how to be in front of the camera. When you're on stage, when you're in front of the camera, stillness and silence, because the camera can get a close-up of you. And you can have the camera immediately on a close-up on my face. Why? Because camera catches thought. Did you hear that? But if I'm in the theater, you steal the entire body. And therefore, this entire instrument must communicate what I'm going through and what I'm saying. That's why sometimes then, to try and approximate the camera, we give you a special that just lights your face. Like in Sizwe Banzi's Dead, you're writing a letter to your wife, and it gives you that. But you need to know the principles for each medium, because it's a storytelling platform. Different letters that you write have different formats, different requirements. So tell your story according to the stationery that you have in your hands.
Thank you very much, Ndabecheri. Thank you very much, Thami. Thank you very much, Bishop Joshua. I think I've learned a lot in this session myself. I've done a lot of introspection while sitting here. I hope that you have also taken an opportunity to grasp some few things and you'll be able to put them into practice. And I think the most important thing is about finding your passion and utilizing what you have in your space and staying authentic. And I think with those words, you should be able to become a better human being. I think from the beginning of this week until today, whatever you have grasped, there should be some type of transformation depending on how you decide to use what was said here now and what was said throughout the week. But the most important thing I would like to impart with yourselves, girls and boys, gents, be careful of how you engage with your sexual habits, because of you're going to impregnate somebody's child, and now that is going to mess up the things that you said you want to achieve. And now tomorrow you're going to be accusing the girl of having to be trapping you with a child. So if you don't want a child in your life until a particular time, wear a condom. or you abstain. Girls, let me tell you something. A boy is going to lie to your ear just to get in between. And they're going to impregnate you, and they're going to leave you, and they're going to go and chase their own dreams. While you must start with the delivery pains, bargaining labor pains, you'll be alone. When the baby cries at night, you'll be alone. Your mother, your uncle is going to be insulting you that one no. So until a particular time you have achieved the things that you want to achieve, you can then start thinking about babies. Boys will lie to you, my sister. My brother, girls can make your life a misery. So be a parent at the time when you know you can take up those responsibilities. Between now and that time, you have no business of making babies because they're going to make and shape your life in a different form. We need to raise kids who are sound in their mind, and we need to have a society that is stable because we respect and value families, nucleus families. This thing of it's a continuous thing of having to discover who your father is at a later stage because of wrong things happened at a particular time. We want dads who have got passion for fatherhood and dads who are going to be there in their kids' lives. With those words, thank you very much for being such a great audience.
Can we just take a
Thank you
few
very
minutes
much.
to thank Bonagani for being such an incredible facilitator himself?
Yebo. Yebo, 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 yebo.
Thank you.